As if human wrestlers weren't enough for our amusement, we're putting animals in the ring. Yeah, you heard it right. While you might have seen the tiger show in the circus, here we have something even more interesting for you: the rodent show. How? The scientific experiments are going rogue. In fact, gene editing experiment turns cute hamsters into aggressive beasts. Pretty sure that this headline caught your sight one way or the other. It's all on the internet. Do you know the mystery of new scientific inventions? We have probably heard about and used animal-tested products, but what happens when something goes wrong during the process? Who takes the claim? And what happens to the animals after the experiment? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. You are watching Brain Soup. In this video, I'm going to talk about a mystery surrounding hamsters which, according to an animal rights group, have been injected with cocaine and steroids, have been the victims of gene editing and whatnot before actually being forced to fight in cage matches. This sounds scary and cruel, right? I don't know where we're heading in terms of morals, but what I know is that this is not it, and there is much more to this crazy story that I would like you all to know. Are you ready? But wait, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. Also, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up at the end. You pay taxes, and if it were up to you, would you want them to be used for some rogue hamster tournaments? I highly doubt it, but unfortunately, without you knowing, your taxes in the name of research funding are being exploited and misused. It's not me who's saying this, it's the media, of course. But I consider it my duty to make you all aware of it. The animal fighting ring I talked in the start is surely something so big that it has received more than $3 million in taxpayer funding. So, without further ado, let's get into the video and find out more about it. An alleged university in 2015 had been carrying out bizarre experiments on hundreds of drugged-up hamsters. In the experiment, the drugged whiskered fighters were pitted against non-drugged rodents. The research was basically aimed to investigate the links between steroids and aggression in teens, or the roid rage. They were coached, videotaped, and scored on how often they attacked non-drugged challengers. Each fight would be carried on for around 10 minutes, mimicking the moderate steroid use in humans. A score was recorded after a hamster lunged at, confined, or bit into a fellow rodent. These poor beings were under the purview of Northeastern's psychology department. At the helm was Professor Richard Maloney Jr. A Northeastern University spokesman told a local magazine that they used animals when the study has the promise to improve human or animal health, even when animal welfare groups banned any experiments that violated the animal fighting and cruelty statute. In fact, Massachusetts Attorney General morraly, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, also called for the state to investigate and file charges against Maloney. As soon as Animal Campaign group PETA got to know about it, they took and blasted the experiments as cruel and macabre. They also called for criminal charges to be brought against Northeastern University, Boston, for carrying out these atrocious activities. According to them, animals were forced into a twisted sports-style tournament and fought multiple times against different opponents as they advanced with each win. Others were killed, and their brains were dissected. What was even more ironic was that, according to animal rights and several other watchdog organizations, these studies for which these hamsters were trapped echoed what was already known about behavioral issues caused by steroids. In addition to that, an expert warned against drawing conclusions about humans based on short studies on hamsters. According to the journal Behavioral Pharmacology, in one of these 2014 experiments, 105 hamsters were anesthetized so scientists could drill holes into their skulls to make way for a tube to inject steroids. This had been continuing since 1996 until Maloney was stopped the funding he had been receiving from the National Institutes of Health, NIH. PETA called on the Massachusetts Attorney General to end these experiments and, if appropriate, press charges against those responsible. The experiments were exposed, and NSF, NIH, along with the concerned university and professor, faced thousands of emails from compassionate taxpayers who were furious to know their dollars were paying for Maloney's atrocities. But unfortunately, it was not the end of cruelty of hamsters. Although Maloney's experiments were no longer funded by NIH, the agency kept funding many other painful, deadly, and useless experiments on animals. These experiments, in fact, took a more drastic turn when Georgia State University, GSU, received over $1.5 million of your money via the National Institutes of Health, NIH, and the National Science Foundation, NSF, to genetically engineer hamsters using CRISPR gene editing technology, then drill into their skulls, and finally pit them against one another in staged, scored fights. The experimenters wanted to breed rodents without the hormone vasopressin in effort to raise social communication among them. In the words of the lead researcher, Professor Elliot Albers, "We anticipated we would reduce both aggression and social communication, but the opposite happened." In other words, the expectations were that the genetically modified hamsters would be bullied, but they turned out to be the bullies instead. They thought the hamsters would be calmer and less aggressive. They were wrong. This puts a question mark on the surety and safety of these experiments. In addition, federal reports submitted by GSU show that these experiments were classified in pain category E, meaning they were painful, with pain relief deliberately withheld, letting the animals suffer. And to more of our grief, at the end of the experiments, all the hamsters were killed. This time, in order to avoid public attention, GSU's press release about the Hamster Fight Club experiments did not mention the taxpayer funding. This, in turn, is another violation of the law, but this time, a long-standing federal transparency law known as the Stevens Amendment. Though it may not be talked about much in the media these days, cruelty to hamsters and many other animals is still practiced extensively. PETA is an active animal rights protection nonprofit organization that strongly believes animals are not ours to experiment on, eat, wear, use for entertainment, or abuse in any other way. They have been tirelessly working to put an end to these cruel practices and urge everyone to highlight this issue on social media, talk to their congressman to take it to the media, and encourage any small step in this regard. With this, we've come to the end of the video. Thank you very much for making it to the end with me. I understand this has been a crazy ride, so feel free to express yourselves in the comments below. Also, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to receive regular updates from our channel. Last but not least, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up.